Okay, we are live, people. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so hello everyone. I am Sudha Jamthe, and this is Sudha Live, our happy hour on Friday, as we dig through the world of AI, Gen AI, and find out opportunities and find out what's happening. There's so much noise. So I was out on vacation last week. I was in Toronto. And so I missed you guys. I didn't do Sudha Live last week. And I do this all the time, wherever I am. I usually say whatever weather. I usually say wherever I'm traveling, right? And so I do it from airports and whatnot. And last week, I could not have done this. I could not have done this. I'm not kidding, even if I wanted to, because I'm going to show you where I was. And so this stuff happened in the LLM world. So I caught up on that. So I brought that for you. So for those of you who are joining new, I'm a technology futurist from Silicon Valley. And I'm going to bring you the latest, greatest analysis of the Gen AI world. And I'm glad we at least kind of shortened this to Gen AI instead of generative AI, which was too big. And I focus on um, jobs, events, calls, opportunities, so that all of you, my students out there who are learning AI and either have taken my LinkedIn class or Stanford class or one of my Barcelona class or done some classes with me at Business School of AI, or you're aspiring to get into this AI space, I'm here to help you. And so my focus is on giving you opportunities so you can continue to learn, career pivot, and all that stuff. But also, I like to demystify chaos. There is so much opportunity, there's so much good stuff happening, but there's so much hype. So I don't like to consolidate everything and just give you a list. I kind of go through that and say, okay, this makes sense. So it'll help my students in their learning journey. So that's kind of my approach. So you want to see what I was doing on Friday that I could not do Sudha Live with you. I'm going to share my screen. Let me see. And hold on. I mean, just now I live in San Jose right here, and I had gone out and I was thinking, oh my God, it's raining. And then I remembered where I was last week. So, not complaining. Hold on, I have to share my screen. And for those of you who are watching me on LinkedIn, so first this is streaming to YouTube and LinkedIn, and then this will get archived on YouTube. It will get recorded on LinkedIn too. So you can just follow any of my channels, and then you can continue to meet me on Fridays. I'm not going to be going to YouTube to answer your questions, but if you're on LinkedIn, I definitely will answer your question. In fact, I'll come back and see whether you posted any comments and answer your question, but I would like for you to talk to me live. So introduce yourself, add a comment. If you're just watching this, you can do a like, one of those emojis that you have, other than the humor laughing emoji. I would welcome everything else. Okay. What I'm going to do is I will come back to LinkedIn and check what you're saying. Okay, I see. So the thing with LinkedIn is it shows me the number. It doesn't show the number of people. So that's my problem. So I promised to show you where I was, what I was doing, why I could not join you, because I was here. And see this? That's the Niagara Falls. That's the American side. And that's the Horseshoe Fall on the Canadian side. It was frozen, people. It was cold. I could not have done Sudha Live. I could not even see my own face. And my phone was getting wet trying to get you this clip. Okay. So I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to show you a little tiny picture of the same thing. So this was when I went to the fall that you're seeing far away, that you're not able to see anything, looks like a mist. That is the Horseshoe Fall. So I'm kind of going in from this direction from where you're seeing the picture. It is, the fall is not fully frozen. There's like frozen pieces on top of it. And you can see all the icicles here. It's amazing. It was cold. It was cold. And the mist would come and it would freeze because it was like 28 degrees centigrade, which is below zero. No, 28 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. And feeling like 19 was the weather. what the weather app told me. But I felt it was like 19 degrees Fahrenheit, and the water would come and freeze. And that's why these icicles are just staying on. And I believe this week, Toronto has kind of become warm, and, it's wonderful sunny right when I was leaving. So hope you're all, staying safe and having fun. So I like traveling, and I hope to meet some of you while I travel. So what is happening in the AI world? I know what was happening that I missed out. So I focus on Gen AI and LLMs. I've been talking about LLMs for a long, long time, even before LLMs became cool, because I focus on inclusive research. So I was doing some paper on languages and adding inclusion to languages, and other research of mine is on autonomous vehicle and adding inclusion to autonomous vehicles. So let me bring this up. So I heard that there is, the concept of LLM is that the AI remembers words and connection of words in its training, and then it does a recall, and then in context, it's able to chat with us. So the easiest thing, people think of LLM as chatbots, machine translation, and a lot of summarization. I'm doing this on Zoom. So Zoom has a summarization. Hi, Stuart. Long time. Good to see you. I see the number of people going up. So if you want to say hello, that's awesome. If you're working in LLM space, I would love to see what you're doing. If you have a question for me, I would love to answer that too. So LLM is like a AI that is trained with words, and now with multimodal LLMs, it can also be trained with all kinds of other modalities. But let's stick with words, right? So it is remembering words in relationship to other words in its memory. So it's essentially a neural network, like a deep learning neural network, but it is capable of recalling very fast. And what is the difference between traditional AI and generative AI? For those of you who are not asking me questions, I'm going to ask you questions. So what is the difference between machine learning or deep learning, and even if it's a neural network, and the LLM that is a neural network, or generative AI that's a neural network? What is the difference between the old traditional AI? I don't want to call it old AI, but traditional AI and this generative AI. What's the big difference? What is the one big difference? You can add a question. You can add a comment. I see more people showing up. Happy to see you. So what's the difference between traditional AI and generative AI? What is your, and there's no bad answer, people. You don't have to keep quiet and, not answer me. So I'm talking to myself, looking at number of you on the screen. I need to hear your answers, because this is not a difficult one. You all know LLMs are different, generative AI. So how is generative AI different from machine learning or deep learning? What is the difference? Anybody? Okay. So one difference is, yes, it's trained on a lot of data, a huge volume of data compared to machine learning. But what is the key difference in how, when you're doing a chatbot in the past, if you're doing a chatbot, and if you're doing a chatbot now, what is the difference in, if you're talking to Alexa or Google Home, and from the past, and that was also natural language processing, and now when you're doing LLM using ChatGPT or Gemini, what's the difference? How is it different in its architecture is my question, but you can tell me anything, any kind of difference. What is different? So bursting with answers, but I want to see what you guys are saying. So yes, if you think about it, so the way to think about it is, if you think about, okay, AI is trained by data. Is this trained by data? Is the other one trained by data? Yes, they are the same. It's trained with large volume of data. That's why they're large language models. So I'll give that to you. And in its architecture, it is different. This is a transformer model, and neural networks are not transformer models. That's okay. So we have CNN or RNN, doesn't matter. That's in the brain of it. It matters on what it does for you based on that, right? What does AI do? AI makes predictions, right? If a self-driving car is driving and it says, okay, I'm seeing some object on the road. Is that Sudha? Should I stop or close or move? Then it shows that, right? What is the difference? it is actually going to be showing you a prediction. It's giving an answer. That's a prediction. And if you don't want to answer and talk to me on the chat, that's okay. You can actually give me one of these emojis. So let me say, is both the AI trained by data? Yes or no? Is both the AI making predictions? Yes or no? Making it very easy for you. Is it an yes or no? Is the AI making prediction? If it's generative AI, is it making prediction? If it's machine learning, is it making prediction? And the answer is yes, it is making a prediction in both cases. All AI is trained on data. All AI is storing somehow mathematically from the training data. It's storing its learning, and then it's making a prediction. And what is the LLM predicting? One of the things I tell my students always is you do not need a new tool, because my specialty is to teach with no code AI. So you don't need any extra tool. AI is all around us. That's why it's a big deal. It's on our phones, it's in the weather, in predictions, in all kinds of things that they're predicting, right? In various different devices, in home automation, in manufacturing, in your companies, in workplaces, in all the different cameras looking at us. Everything is using AI. So, and it's making predictions. It's taking in data and it's making a prediction. And it is predicting, is this face that I need to open the phone to? That's facial recognition. It's making a prediction whether this face belongs to Sudha. It's making a prediction at all stages. So when you're talking to ChatGPT, what is it doing? It's chatting. Okay. So what is it doing as the next word? It's just thinking about the next word. So you can actually look at search engines, your favorite search engine, go talk, and it will make predictions for you. And it'll try to guess the next word, like the autocorrect on any of your chat, right? On any of your messaging platform is going to do that. So all AI is making predictions. All AI is trained by data. LLM happens to be trained with large volume of data. I will park this question of what is difference in the prediction of an LLM different from traditional AI. I want to give you time to kind of process it. If you want to go ask ChatGPT, I don't care. It's fine with me. Find me the answer. What is difference in the prediction of machine learning versus ChatGPT or any kind of generative AI? It could be an image generation, but I'm talking about chats. Let's stick with LLMs and chats, right? So if you're going to Google search and it's making predictions on words, on finishing the sentence, or if you're doing some kind of document and it's doing autocorrect, or ChatGPT is going to write up an whole essay for you, or you ask this question to ChatGPT, it is giving you an answer, it's making prediction of words. What is it doing? How is it different from traditional AI, traditional machine learning and deep learning? That's my question to you. So you can take your time, answer that, and I will come back to it by the time we finish this session today. So I want to go back to AI opportunities. So there's a lot of stuff happening in the chatbot LLM world. And Susanna Raj, thank you. She shared that there is a fairness LLM. And everything that I'm going to be telling you here, I am going to be, I can't sit and type every link here while we are talking. So what I will do is I'll come back and put the important links here. But everything that I'm going to be sharing with you will be out in the Jamthe newsletter that goes on Mondays. And thank you, Pariya Sarin, for sending this out. I appreciate this. So every link that will be there. So the fairness LLM from Susanna is going to be there. I also heard that the LA schools have built out a chat bot for the entire school district that students can chat. I've not been able to get access to it and play with it, but if somebody has access to it, I would like to check it out. So let me know. Okay, so then I'll share that. Then there's this whole concept of chain of experts, mixture of experts. But I want you to answer this question of what is LLM or generative AI doing different from traditional AI before we dig into advanced topic, because then what's the point of me just telling you stuff? Because my goal here is to not add any more jargons. If you have jargons, I'm here to demystify this. I'm here to give you something consolidated from what's happening in the field so that we can move forward in our learning, right? So that's my goal here. There is one SEMA.ai that is actually offering LLM that you can, or ML models that you can run on the edge. And so that I thought was very good, because I came from teaching IoT and autonomous vehicles. So I'm thinking about real things and sensors and how we get data that trains the AI. So I like sensors in general. I like connected devices, connected products, and digital twins. So if you want to run things even on the phone when you're running models. For example, one of my favorite hobbies is, as I'm walking, I would take a picture, and then on my phone, the saved picture, I can actually see it, and it will give me like an eye sign. I'm on an iPhone, and so it gives me an eye sign for information, not iPhone. And then it will do a image recognition, and that will say it's a plant, or a tree, or a dog. It does things like that, right? So or a car, right? It does all objects, but I go around on a walk and I try to look at the flower, the plant, or tree, and try to recognize what it is. And that's like a new hobby of mine. And when it is doing that, it is running the model on inference on the edge on the device. It is not running it from the cloud. It's not saying, oh, I need to do image recognition, let me go to the cloud and come back. It can, but it doesn't. A lot of things, even when you do your autocorrect, it is not going. And one of the promises of Apple is that it is not going to compromise your data privacy and stuff. So it is sitting there, right? If you use the same thing on WhatsApp, it will actually tell you that I'm not tracking your chat. There's something called Meta AI on WhatsApp. And it says, I will send this information. This particular chat you're asking and talking to me as an AI, I will send this to the cloud for learning purposes. But yeah, your general chat where you're talking to somebody, I will not send that. At least that's the promise. And this week, what happened? There was a court case, and the court documents, when they got opened up, that's how the news broke, that Facebook did a deal with Netflix to give extra information about users. So big companies buy ads on Facebook or Google or any of the ad platform, and Facebook gives a lot of information, demographic information about users when they send traffic to that site. And they said, we'll give you extra information. And that was their deal. So it's a business development deal. And they gave information about your DMs, your personal direct messages that you're doing to people on Messenger, on Facebook, and they sold this to Netflix. So that's the news. So one of the things, as I'm teaching AI, I want every one of you to think about your role in doing this. One, you might be doing this to just get into AI and learn. And you might say, but I'm not a data scientist. I don't know Python, or I'm a product manager, or I'm a designer. And I taught a whole bunch of designers this master's in UX design program at Barcelona Technology School, and I teach AI ethics and AIX design to them. And recently, I just taught a group of designers at Elisava School of Design and Engineering in Barcelona, and I taught AI for them. And so I want you, whatever your role, to think about this ethically, because you're going to unleash something out into the world. And this is very powerful when you build AI, right? So that's why when I think about AI, I'm assuming you're doing this ethically, and I'll challenge you to think about it. But when I hear this news, two things come to me. That somebody in Facebook did this, and this is like, oh my God, this is unethical, is how the news breaks. But somebody in Facebook thought this was a good idea to collect this data. Somebody thought it was a good idea to do a deal with Netflix, and somebody set it up, went through the operations of giving this information of private direct messages of people talking to their moms and girlfriends and exes or whatever, right? And sent it to Netflix. Somebody in Netflix sat there on analytics and thought this was a good idea and did a business deal. And then they said, okay, now let's go and collect that information. I don't know the nitty-gritties of where this went. I want to go find out more. But that the news broke that they did a deal on, and it included DMs or private messages, is what the new media news is. But if you are working in AI, you want to get into AI, there are so many different roles. And that means that you could get into AI, just doing what you know to do and thinking about how will I be a product manager, how will I do BD, how will I do analytics, how will I build data science, and I would build applications. Or you could be working in AI ethics or want to do responsible AI. This week, we had Sahaj Vaidya come in and show us how to focus on AI security. And she's a NIST fellow in US on thinking about a very data-driven approach to responsible AI. And it is in Weekly Wednesday. That is our speaker series. So let me find that for you. Give me a minute. Let me see if I have it here handy. Yep. So my point is, you could be anybody working on any aspect of AI. When you see this, you could get into AI by doing what you love to do, and you could actually, this was me. I'm going to skip past that.
Thank you so much for having me on the Weekly Wednesday series here. Thank you.
Wonderful. And thank you to Pariya for Pariya Sarin. I always like to thank you.
Transparency and explainability right into the privacy by design stage of model development rather than the later stages of deployment evaluation, so that we can at least mitigate or minimize the unfair or unpredictable outcomes when the model arrives at a certain decision.
Okay, I'm going to go through a section where she's doing a design. Okay.
Slide, please. We've seen a couple of examples earlier during the presentation, and I also talked about them. But why do every company or every organization out there needs to put them?
Okay, I'm going to stop this. So I'm going if you go to my YouTube, it is in the playlist called bit.ly/playlist weekly wed, and you can get access to it because it's choppy when I just show you a little bit. It's not fair to Sahaj. She did such a fantastic job. And for those of you who are on here on LinkedIn, I'm going to show you. I'm going to add the link for it. Hold on for a minute. I'm coming back to you guys again. Weekly wed from Sahaj Vaidya. // I think it's weekly wed playlist. I said the other way around, right? Yeah. Okay. So you can go watch that. So does anybody have the answer for what we were talking about? Okay. So I'm going to continue on. So I was telling you about this where Facebook did a deal with Netflix, and I was questioning how the AI ethics of it is not a problem of one person. So when you read a news like this, you cannot just think about, okay, this is bad, data science did this or analytics did this. And it's not just about management and just say this company and that company, right? There are so many people. So those of you who are my students who are getting into AI, this means you have an opportunity to get into AI at every stage of the company. If you are going to sleep well after building AI, then you need to build that ethically. And there are so many roles, again, all over the company. So that's what I wanted to challenge, whether you're doing BD, whether you're doing analytics in this case, right? And if you're collecting data in some form, and if you're building product, I don't think this would have been built and shared and got into a deal without a product manager, analytics, business development, legal, so many people involved other than management. So I just want you to think about that, because I get very excited about the newer things and opportunities in LLM and how generative AI is going and the possibilities of what it can do for all of us. And then when I see such a news, I know that, I'm not trying to justify that what anybody is doing unethically or just go into this, okay, AI is unethical to the other extreme. I want you to learn AI, find your place, find your opportunity, think critically about everything that comes your way, and think about it. The easiest way is to think about, if I was a product manager, what would I be doing? If I was working in analytics, what would I be doing? Because I have worked in analytics and I know what kind of things were collected, what kind of possibilities was discussed, what kind of things we built. And so I'm just thinking, if I was there, what would I be doing? How would this should have played out? And I do a lot of these case studies in my class. Whenever I'm teaching anything, I always like to show this case happened, this news happened, and imagine if you're the product manager of this product, what would you be doing? What if you are in this role, what would you be doing? So that's I wanted to tell you that. And while you are on this AI ethics topic, the other thing, I have been talking to you about one of my students' project about voice cloning, and the EU AI Act is out and is real. And so, we are going to get the a governance from there. And we cannot run with, doing this unethically so much. At least I used to say the voice cloning is not going to be, at least from what I'm seeing, there is no there isn't anything I'm seeing that will stop it, right? That it's unethical. And OpenAI just launched a voice clone option, and it was so sad for me, because it was like the news of Facebook trying to do this deal with Netflix that came after the fact. It's the same thing. But the way there is a whole developer wave, and those of you are watching and want to build amazing things, and I use ChatGPT, I use GPT, I teach GPT how to build GPT chatbots, and I'm not biased towards one brand or the other, but you have to do things ethically. So the voice clone, what they have said, because if you're a developer and you're thinking about it, saying, oh, they said that they're going to do this ethically. If it is not an ethical product, cannot be done ethically, you cannot use it. Otherwise, you're choosing to be unethical. So in this case, what they've said is, they said, we will have a list of people, famous people, that we will not clone. So it's like our US president's voice was cloned during one of our primary elections. So this is meant to make deep fakes. And it is a tool given to make deep fakes. And so the point was that they said that we will not clone famous people, and they get to decide who these famous people are, or I don't know, like a verification on Twitter, they're going to ask $15 to show that we are famous. But the concept of that was wrong. It is other than just giving that, the saying that they will just have a team look at it, and then they will not allow certain people's voice to be built as deep fakes. Seems more unethical than just offering it. It felt like playing favoritism of, okay, I will not do this for the US president, but I will do this for somebody else. It just felt wrong to me. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, because we are at a place where generative AI can generate anything. And we are at a place where there's so many possibilities, and a lot of excitement around this is about the sensationalization of these technologies. So can anybody out there think of a positive use case of why this cloning of voice should be allowed? And it is not allowed in the EU AI Act. I'm going to tell you about this IoT Day, because we have a speaker who's going to come and talk to us about this EU AI Act and help us understand, to make sense of that. So we will get that demystified. And we also have a bunch of other people who are brilliant people I respect in the AI regulation space, who are actually working towards governance towards that. And just today I saw, where is that? I have to look that up. I saw that there is a UN call for a comment on regulation. And I will find that and also add that here. So I think the regulation is being done from various different dimensions, and we don't have that in US, unfortunately. And so this seems wrong to me, just seems wrong to me. Because when they were talking about Soro and generating images, we could say that could generate images and it could generate people's faces and stuff. But voices goes to a different degree, because the average person is not going to understand. And the average, and the image generation makes extra claws and hands and doesn't do fingers and stuff. But there is a use of making it potentially you could justify the discussion about generating images is against, will it replace artists? And I do not believe that the real work of an artist that is done by an artist with as an expression of their creativity is not the same as AI creating the technicality of art. So I'm not threatened by that. I'm not feeling that, it is going to, it's an immoral thing. But with voice, it could create voice identities of anybody out there. And so it seems wrong. And I was talking to you about the use case of this student trying to create the voice of somebody who died. And so I'm not going to go back and repeat that use case, but I wanted to put it out there. I would love to hear what you think about it. And then while I was at it, that's the beauty of my feed, guys. I hear this about this voice cloning, and I'm thinking that doesn't seem right. And then I saw this other news from Toby Olatunj. Let me get my glasses here, and I can show you about a beautiful use case right here. Okay, so this is from EACL 2024 conference. What they did is they basically took a multitask model and trained speech and accent recognition in thousands of sample speeches for 100 plus African accents from many countries. And they built deep learning models to understand this. And so that is what this is from Toby. Congratulations, Toby. And they have published this paper, and they have actually put this out as out for us to go enjoy and look. So I wanted to actually talk about, so basically they're saying, right, they are taking speech and they're using AI to recognize the speech and the various accents, and they took AI, they used AI to understand the complexity of speech. It's the same thing, like if you're thinking about voice cloning, it takes voice and it creates a replica of voice. Is not easy. So if you take various different complexity of languages, and I said I'm interested in inclusive AI in language, because there is so much that is in language across the world. And I was talking to somebody about learning new language, and there are some languages that have such a rich tone and inflection in them that somebody who's learned that language can learn other languages much easily, and it's not the other way around. So now what this AI has done is it has actually taken complex variations of language and created a deep learning model, and then mapped it for us. Now we could build something more out of it. We can obviously build better machine translation, but there is a lot more of speech-based technologies that you can build on top of that. So that's the idea. So I was just thinking, one is to just take something and clone it and saying, I don't know what we are going to do, but we will not allow cloning of, famous people. And the other is to actually take AI, put it to the task and say, now let's break down speech. Let's break down language and go do this for like hundreds of languages that have complexity in them, so that those of us who don't know those languages, who do not understand the complexity, can now have access to that language. Now it's left to our imagination. What can we do with that? Now we have AI that can understand a richness of human language in a different way, more than what I know as a human, given the languages I understand. Now, what can I do with that? So I find that very fascinating. So I would love to hear your thoughts on what you think about this and what you can do with this. Okay. And as I mentioned, there is a call from UN on comments on their governance on this. And then one of the other things that I always promise is jobs. And I found there was an AI content writer at data or annotation, and it's on LinkedIn. And then there was another one called Futures Fellow or Researcher Writer at Weber Shandwick in New York, which I believe is a remote job. And both of them were like $20 an hour. And I was like, what is this job, which is an AI content writer? So it's basically calling writers to write content that can be used to train AI. And so there has been this debate on, AI is writing content and is it going to replace the writers and stuff like that. As long as they are paying the writers and the writer is giving permission to write that content, I think it's totally fine, because you need to feed content instead of stealing content from somewhere from the internet, or not giving permission to, or giving due credit to the people who are writing it. Giving them seems like a good thing. So this looks like a good student job if you want to get into, doing because they're doing annotation of the data, labeling of the data for supervised learning, labeling of content. So to even do embeddings, I think is a good learning curve for anybody. So if you're a student who can write, this seems like a very good opportunity. And then I saw our vice president here, Kamala Harris, had a call out just today or yesterday, saying that every federal agency in US should take AI and building AI right very seriously. So they should have a chief AI officer. So every federal agency in US is going to have a chief AI officer who's going to think about that agency from their point of view. What do they need to do with AI? What are the applications? What is the infrastructure? How to scale and hire people? So it's going to be a wonderful role. So if that is something that you're interested in, that's something you should check it out. I also saw like a mobile engineer role. Everything has an AI component, but that was in Mozilla in Canada, and Mozilla focuses on privacy and making internet work for all of us. So if that's your thing, that is another interesting job. And then there's tons of images. I mean, not images. I'm talking about image and voice, and I said images. There's tons of events out there. So April 3rd, there is a vector databases by hand. Let me show that to you. You might like that. So when we were talking about how does LLM work and how does it store things in its memory. So basically you feed words and it takes words and creates embeddings. And then from the embeddings, it converts that to a number. And that number is what's stored in its brain. And it shows it creates a matrix of numbers in relationship to other numbers. That's how the LLM works in its brain, in its architecture. That's how I started our conversation today. And we've been hearing that, but you hear that and you say, what does that mean? What is a vector database? How do you do this embeddings? And, if you have doubts or it's exciting or you want to understand what this is, here is an event for you. And let me find that. It is a beginner's guide to vector DBs. And this is done by a professor. Let me find that also for you. Let me go back. I am here. Yeah. No, I know I'm not sharing that yet. Give me a minute, guys. Okay. Professor Tom E. Okay. Yes, I'm going to share the screen now. Yes, I was not sharing. I know that. Thank you. So this is Professor Tom Ye, and he's doing this vector databases by hand. It's a webinar on April 3rd, and he's done a lot of this. So what it has, one of the approaches Tom does is he actually says, what is he going to cover? Database, vectors, retrieval, and what is word embedding, sentence embeddings. And then he usually does like a sharing of his slides ahead of time. It's not just the slides, because you have to listen to Tom and you have to hear from, get your questions answered. So that preview is also here in this link that I'm showing you right now. And you can follow Professor Tom Ye. And then he's done a lot of other things. I think that was added in the comment here with a lot of repost. So he's done this AI by hand, explaining everything very beautifully. There is one new kind of large language model called stateless models, and the famous one is called Mamba. And he's explained that. He's even explained like what is matrix multiplication or back propagation or transformer, and all the words and jargons that you find. He's done such a beautiful job, and he's done webinars on all of them. And it's a lot of math if you're interested in it. Sometimes it's not, but he's a computer science professor, but he does a fantastic job. So I just thought for anybody who is interested in understanding LLMs, I thought this was something that you should definitely, get into it. And then talking of getting into your, getting into AI and your career, I am here. I talk to you, on Fridays. I have my many classes at many places, but I am going to come and do a webinar with a friend of mine. It's a proper webinar and answer your questions. Here we go. So I am going to join my friend Samira Dolan, who's a cloud engineer and who's also a LinkedIn learning instructor. So I would highly recommend looking for Samira and follow her work and look for her courses. And we are going to be talking about how do you level up your career with AI. And that is happening on Thursday, April 4th at 2 p.m. my time here in California time. So right now it is 6:45. So this is like 4 hours before my time here and from where we are now. So if you're in different time zones, check it out. And, we'll talk about, career, what do you do, and how do you grow your career using AI. And you can ask any questions. If you want to take it in a different direction, that's fine too. And then I found that there is an event, there is a group called Women in Gen AI, and it is by my friend Tatiana Katzewell, and she is hosting a monthly meetup of women in generative AI. It happens on Friday. It conflicts with this time, so I'm not gone for it. But I'm a big fan of Tatiana, so I highly recommend that. And the big thing, I think March 29th, today, this weekend, is going to be the Vision Camp at UCSC Silicon Valley Extension School in Santa Clara by Dom Segola. And he used to run iOS Dev Camp, and I was part of it for several years, and I've seen it, and he did amazing job, and his whole team that comes together to do that are brilliant people. So if you're into the Vision, Apple Vision world, and with Apple devices, that's a beautiful place, and it's a beautiful way they organize it as a whole family activity where you can come together and build tech and run a hackathon and participate in a hackathon and learn together and support each other. It's such a beautiful environment. So I would highly recommend that Vision Camp. And then the big thing that I'm working on is called IoT Day. So people have been asking me, what is IoT Day? As if I am running IoT Day all by myself. I am just a person running one event on IoT Day. So let me go and show you what I'm talking. Is that a clean window? Yes. So it's if you go to iotday.org, Rob Van Kranenberg started this. He runs the EU IoT Council. He started IoT Day many years back, and April 9th every year is IoT Day. And it's just an open invitation for anybody interested in Internet of Things, IoT. And so all your devices, as I said in the beginning, even the autonomous vehicle is an IoT technically, the Alexa and all the cameras, everything is IoT. Our cars are all connected these days. So anything that's connected to the internet becomes an IoT. And how is that evolving? That space is evolving, and AI has taken center stage because of the data. But how do you do what is involved? So there's a lot of um, people around the world, companies around the world run IoT Day events on April 9th. So it's a good opportunity to go check out this site, find events that happens in every possible country. So this is IoT supply chain security. There is this event. There is, Mercoras is a friend of mine in the cybersecurity space. So if that's of interest, there is this. There is IoT Day France. This is IoT Stars Embedded World. IoT and LLMs, I would like to check this out. And so it is in various languages, in various places. There's a lot more events that happens. And I am involved in one event called IoT Women on IoT Day. And this is a 24-hour marathon live stream of talks, sessions on various different technology topics and a little bit of career related topics for 24 hours on April 9th. And so it's not like I don't sleep, but it is from April 9th at 9 a.m. anywhere in the world, in every time zone. There will be a session that we will stream. It'll be on my YouTube. So the easiest thing is just follow my YouTube and then you're all set. But we will be providing information on my newsletter, the Jamthe newsletter. So what I am super excited about is this 24 hours live stream is by brilliant women from around the world and on every possible topic. So I'm going to give you a taste of what that is. But I'm very, very, very happy with all of you who supported me on this crazy project. This is going to be our 5th year. Roxy Simpson and I come together, and we are supported by Susanna Raj and Yashashwini Vishwanath, Paryasaran, of course, who runs my world. Who am I missing? Sneha Jadhav is jumped in to come and help with the scheduling. And this time, I have a couple more people who are ambassadors for various different. I'm just making sure that I'm not missing anybody. So I'm going to go back, find my people who are the organizers. Alejandra Infantis from Barcelona is actually our ambassador for Latin America. So we have a bunch of amazing women and topic from Peru and Chile and Brazil and everywhere. Okay. And I might be missing somebody, but you will be seeing who they are as we go through this, as we are sharing the details. But the most exciting thing is we got amazing number of nominations, some self-nomination by women, some nomination by their friends and people who respect their work from around the world. And we had to go through that and shortlist and select the women. And we have got the final set of women who are going to be our speakers for IoT Day. Let me bring that up for you so you can join me in congratulating these speakers, right? Yes. Okay. Where is it, guys? So the easiest thing for you to do is, given that I throw a lot of bit.ly at you, the easiest thing is you can go to IoT Women, bit.ly/IoT Women, and that is the site where you will find all the information right here. And we will be updating our speakers, the schedule, everything else right here. Okay, this is a sample schedule from last week, last month. So what we will do is at 9 o'clock every time zone, there will be a speaker's schedule who is, on a topic, and you can go look at that. We will, as of early next week, by Tuesday, we should have, like, Monday night, my newsletter would go out. So by the time into Tuesday, if you go to my YouTube, there will be a lot of these set up for streaming, and you can actually choose which one you want to sign up and attend. So that's the easiest way to get involved in that. But other than that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a list of the speakers and the topics. I'm just going to give you a taste of what that looks like, right? So we have Shushmita Rao, who's going to come and talk about automation in UI with Playwright. So some topics can be very technical and very specific. I was telling you about Sahaj Vaidya from Weekly Wed. She's going to come back and do a longer session on AI governance for real world deployment. And Kushi Upadhyay is talking about AI impact in everyday life. And then Helena Halu Nigatu is joining us from Ethiopia, and she's going to talk about beyond the metrics. And then we have a technology lawyer, an AI ethicist. What does that mean? From Turkey, we have, let me make sure I get the right name, Deniz Chelikaya. Is going to talk about what does it mean to be a technology lawyer and an AI ethicist. And Iona Bertia is going to be the one I was telling you about, the EU Act demystified. EU Act, what does that mean? How to understand the risk is going to come from Iona Bertia. And Diana Hernandez is going to talk to us about behavioral design to improve user and client experience. And Paula Galvez Caligras is joining us from Peru, from AI declarations to actions, to actions. And then there is also Ine Yenki from Google's, who's going to, she's actually changing the whole landscape of South Sudan with her many programs, and she's a mentorship director. She's going to come talk to us about her work. And Alejandra Infantis, who's our ambassador, right? She's from Peru, and she's talking about personal leadership for UX legal designers. She's done a 2 minutes session on what is legal design, UX design for lawyers. So she's going to talk about that. And Jessica Groupman is back. She's one of my favorite people, and she's going to talk about seeing regenerative potential of humans tech stack. I am very intrigued by this topic, and I'm very excited to learn from Jessica. And Deepika Sarkar is going to talk about data bias and women within the world of AI. And so we have a lot of different topics, and Professor Urmila Sharma is going to talk about spirituality and women empowerment. I mean, there's so many different topics, and one of my favorite people, Oluneye Woluwale, she's going to be back. She's such an empowering soul. She's talking about creative tech art and embracing art and technology. So there is so much more. I just don't want to keep on reading this. But the way we are going to do this is there is going to be a list of sessions that is coming in on starting from the April 8th evening here in California time. So we're going to run this from 5 p.m. to 5 p.m. That's my 24 hours. And so 5 p.m. on April 8th, when it becomes, 9 o'clock in Singapore, we'll start off, and then it'll go every 9 o'clock in every time zone. We'll have sessions that will live stream all into the night. And then my morning on April 9th in California time, we're going to start from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. We're going to run one Zoom session as a long live stream with many, 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 many panels. So Roxy will be joining me. Susanna will be joining me. So Susanna Raj is going to host an AI ethics panel. Yash is coming in with a whole, powerhouse of women from India who are going to talk about generative AI and responsible AI. I don't even know the details of her panel. I will share as I get that. And then Francie Clement is coming from Canada, and she has bringing a powerhouse of women from Canada, and she's running her own panel. Who am I missing? So there's a bunch of panels, and I'm going to do one on your career, right? How do you, the April 4th session, I'm going to answer your questions on a webinar, but I'm going to bring this powerhouse of women who are all, taking charge of their careers. What have they done? How do they go about it? So it's going to be all women speaker. The attendance can be anybody. There is, when you're listening and learning from amazing people, it doesn't matter. But I want this to be an all-women speaker session because, typically when you go to a conference, you see a lot of men speaking, and you miss out on these amazing women who are very passionate and know their topic, and they are working on it and building stuff and researching stuff and launching stuff, and we miss out on them. So I get a chance to kind of bring them and, party and get to listen and learn. So hope you'll join me to, come learn from these amazing women. So that's my aspiration. So what I'm going to do is, now I want to show you the actual list of women who are our speakers. Okay, let me just find that window for you. Okay. Yes, now I'm going to share the screen. So no, I don't have any expectation of you. I just want you to join me in cheering for these women. Okay, it is on. Thank you, Pariya Seren, who has actually built this here. Do you see this? Here. That was the last year flyer of the IoT women. And this is, I think we have 30 or 31 women. I gave you some of the names. This is Jessica. I was telling you I'm looking for her session. This is Deepika. Susanna is going to run the AI ethics panel. I gave you some of the names. Oh, Ananya is helping us too. She's volunteering to make sure that we get all the recordings from all these amazing women from around the clock. And I am looking forward to learning from all these women to actually figure out, career growth, how to do that. A lot of topics on AI, Gen AI, data, responsible AI, various different applications, AI ethics. And this is going to be such a fun session. I usually get to do this. We call this hash 24 and 24 because our target is always like get 24 new women beyond my network so that we can, learn from them from round the clock. And this time, I think we've kind of, exceeded that amazingly. So I look forward to you joining. First of all, join me in cheering for these women, because congratulations, these are our women who got nominated and selected to be our IoT women speakers on April 9th for IoT Day. And then I'm going to be sharing more information on how you can join. So you can go to bit.ly/IoT Women, and we'll be updating that. But I will be sharing more details on where you can sign up, so that you can get email notification on the different sessions and topics, so you can decide which one you want to attend, what makes time zone sense for you. The big thing for us is I'm not giving you the specific time and topics and channels, because each of these women are from different time zones. So when we put together, I'm telling you from my time zone, the previous day evening 5 o'clock to April 9th 5 o'clock is how this whole thing runs. But I'm going to sleep, and in the morning is when I'm going to do the session with you as a whole day event. And there are going to be different people who will come in. So you will have people from Africa, from Europe, come in the mornings, and India. It's night for India, and they will be like in the beginning. And then we are going to get in people from US and East Coast, and people where it makes time zone sense to join us through the day. And then by the time we hit late afternoon and evening, we'll wake up Asia and Australia. And so it's a very interesting mix of how we have different women coming in the live stream. So we are trying to schedule that so that we can have rich diversity of topics and perspective from these amazing women. So I'm very, very thankful to all of you for doing all your amazing work, for even believing in this crazy project. And this is our 5th year that we are doing this as an all-women IoT Women event for IoT Day. So I appreciate that, and I'm super excited. And all the events and the jobs and stuff that I was telling you that earlier, I will make sure that it's on the Jamthe newsletter, so you can pick it up and follow up. And for those of you who have not answered me on the traditional AI versus LLM, I want you to tell me what it is. So I'm happy to, wait for it. We can continue our conversation. So I'm leaving you with this question. What is the difference between traditional AI and generative AI? And I'm talking about machine learning and generative AI. One thing is that it is trained with lots volume of data. But I was asking you specifically, yes, it's trained with data. Yes, in generative AI, it's a large volume of data. They're running predictions. But what is the difference in the prediction that a generative AI does versus traditional machine learning AI does? So that's homework, and we'll pick it up when we talk next. Okay. With that, I'm going to wrap up. And happy Easter to everyone who celebrates this weekend. And stay safe. And I will see you next week. Ciao. I am going to stop the live stream, and then we can go home.